Families and students, thank you for joining us for Family Workshop number 2. Even if you couldn't make it to the live version, let's go ahead and get started with our topic for today. Last time we met, we were working on how to help you ask questions. Remember, we were looking at how to ask questions before reading, during reading, and after reading. Asking questions is a really important skill for good readers to have. Today, we are going to work on how to take the word apart. Today's reading tip includes picking a word, taking it apart sound by sound, and writing it back together. You ready to practice? First thing is I'm going to tell you that when you read a book, there are going to be times where you come to a word that you don't know, and you're going to have to figure it out. Now, this only works for words that you can sound out. And there are words that you can't sound out. There are words that are sight words or trick words. And those words, it won't work for that. Okay, so this only works, families, when you're helping your child with a word that is a word that you can sound out. The sounds behave the way that they're supposed to. This is a song that I love to use to help us with these strategies. It's called, "Oh, What Can You Do When You Get to an Unknown Word?" And it goes like this. Oh, what can you do when you get to an unknown word? Oh, what can you do when you get to an unknown word? Oh, what can you do? What should you do? What can you do? What should you do? Oh, what can you do when you get to an unknown word? Be sure to check the picture closely. Let's see. Be sure to check the picture closely. Let's see. Now try and make a good guess. Now try and make a good guess. Be sure to check the picture closely. Let's see. So let's look at this picture here. We see a boy, and he's holding a baseball bat, and it looks like he has a baseball right here. So looking at the picture, if your book has pictures, will often help you figure out an unknown word. Now let's see what the next thing is that we need to try. Did you try and say just the first sound? Buh. Did you try and say just the first sound? Buh. You better try the first sound. You better try the first sound. Did you try and say just the first sound? Buh. So when you're looking at the word and you see that first letter is a B, your mouth should make that sound right away. Make that buh sound. What's next? Well, you better check your guess from left to right. Buh, at. Well, you better check your guess from left to right. Buh, at. Look it over quickly. Look it over quickly. Well, you better check your guess from left to right. Buh, at. You need to look for chunks inside the word. I see at. You need to look for chunks inside the word. I see at. Are there any little chunks? Are there any little chunks? You need to look for chunks inside the word. I see at. Did you ask if your guess makes sense? Did you ask if your guess makes sense? Did you check for meaning? Did you check for meaning? Did you ask if your guess makes sense? You could always go back and reread. Go back. You could always go back and reread. Go back. It will make the story better. It will make the story better. You could always go back and reread. Go back. So let's go back to that first picture. Remember, we started by looking at the picture. Then we used the first sound, and then we checked our guess from left to right. So we checked the whole entire word and we tapped it out. Buh, at. We stretched out the sound. Buh, at. Does it look like there's a bat in the picture? It does. So when we say, did you check if your guess makes sense? It does make sense. There is a bat in this picture. And if there's a sentence, you would go back and reread it and make sure that it sounds right. And here's the end of the song. We know what to do when we come to an unknown word. Yippee! We know what to do when we come to an unknown word. Yippee! We are independent readers. We are independent readers. We know what to do when we come to an unknown word. Yippee! Now, are you ready to go ahead and try this strategy with me? I like to call it stretchy snake because you're stretching out all the sounds and then blending them all together to make the word. Are you ready? Get the slithering snakes set. Let's go. This is kind of like a game. We're going to see if we can figure out these unknown words using our strategies. Ready? Oh, let me get out of this, make it a little smaller. There we go. I see kids on the something. Now remember, I said that sometimes you can't use this strategy on some words. Like for example, the word the. You can't stretch out the sounds in the word the because the letters don't make the right sounds to say the word the. But this next word that I have covered up by a snake, it does make all the right sounds. We can stretch it out like the stretchy snake. We can tap out every sound and it does what it's supposed to do. So let's look at the picture first. Remember our song says, be sure to check the picture closely. Let's see. Be sure to check the picture closely. Let's see. So we're looking at the picture and I bet you see kids and it looks like they're at a playground, right? They're sitting on, maybe these are swings. Let's see if we can figure out the word. Did you try and say just the first sound? Look at that first sound. The letter is S. So your mouth should make the S sound. Did you try and say just the first sound? You better try the first sound. Better try the first sound. Did you try and say just the first sound? Better check your guess from left to right. Let's see the next letter. Sw. That's a W, so it's going to make a W sound. And then we have an I that makes an I sound. Sw, I. Swing. G. Z. Swings. Put it together into a word. Swings. Now, let's go back and reread. Remember, it will make the story better if you go back and reread. Let's see if it makes sense. I see kids on the swings. Does that guess make sense? Yes, because in the picture, we do see kids on swings. You got it. We figured out the unknown word. Now let's try this one. Jack pulls a something. And if we look at the picture, remember, look closely at the picture. Let's see. Be sure to check the picture closely. Let's see. And we see a boy, and it does look like he's pulling something. What is this red thing called? Let's try the first sound. Ready? Did you try and say just the first sound? We see a W. W says W. So make that sound with your mouth. W. Go back and reread. Jack pulls a W. Does the word pop in your head? Let's check our guess from left to right. W. Then we have A says W, A. G says G, W, A, G. A, N. Be sure to check your guess from left to right. W, A, G, un. Be sure to check your guess from left to right. W, A, gun. Look it over quickly. Look it over quickly. Did you try to check your guess from left to right? Wagon. And then go back and reread. Jack pulls a wagon. Does that make sense? Is he pulling a wagon? Yes, you figured it out. Let's try the next one. We jump in the an unknown word. Let's see if we can figure it out. Look at the picture. You see kids and they're jumping in the something. Maybe you think water. That could make sense. We jump in the water. Let's try the first sound. The first sound is made by the letter P. What sound does P make? P. We jump in the P. Did the idea pop in your head? Let's see, you might have figured it out before we even checked our guess from left to right. Let's try and check our guess from left to right now. P, d, pud. L says ol, p, d, ol. puddles. Stretch it, tap it, puddles. Put it all together, puddles. Now let's see if our guess makes sense. We jump in the puddle. So we go back and reread to make sure it makes sense. Does that make sense? The kids are jumping in the puddles, right? Give yourself a pat on your back. You are doing a really nice job. Now let's try this one, readers. Do you see my pink something? Do you see my pink? What guesses do you have? Did you guess gloves, maybe? Do you see my pink gloves? That would make sense. Let's go ahead and check the first sound. Did you try and say just the first sound? Make that sound with your mouth. And man, Did you see my pink? So gloves doesn't start with the sound. Could it be a different word? Do you know what this word is? Let's try the next one. I says eh. Eh. T says stretch it like a snake. Tap it out. It. It. Mit. Mittens. Let's go back and reread. Do you see my pink mittens? They're not gloves, they are mittens. Did that guess make sense? Yes, it does. Nice work, readers. Let's try this one. The something. We don't know what this word is. It's an unknown word, and we don't have a picture, but it's okay. We have all of our strategies. We can figure this out. Let's do it. First, we're going to have to skip the word we don't know and read to the end of the sentence. Ready? The sits on the nest. Something that sits on a nest. Would it make sense to guess something like the monster sits on the nest? No, it doesn't really make sense. The giraffe sits on the nest? No, giraffes don't sit on nests. Let's see if we can figure it out using the first sound. The first sound is CH. CH together always says ch. It's a digraph. Two letters that make one sound. They always say ch. So far we know it starts with the ch sound. Let's go ahead and check the next letter. The ch, I, the ch. Are you getting an idea that pops in your head? Let's keep checking our guess from left to right. Stretch it out. Ch, I, k, E says ch, ik, n, chicken. You think we've got it? Let's reread the sentence and see if it makes sense. The chicken sits on the nest. That makes sense to me. I think chickens usually sit on nests. Let's go ahead and check our picture and see if we were right. You did it. Give yourself a pat on the back, readers. Nice work. Let's go ahead and try the next one. We can do these even without a picture. He picks a lot of something. We don't know what it is. Be sure to say just the first sound. Oh, full. Then we have an O-W. O-W can say ow or it can say O. Let's try it with ow. Full, ow, ers, full, ow, ers, flowers. Put it all together in one word. I think the word might be flowers. Did you think that too? Let's go back and reread, make sure it makes sense. He picks a lot of flowers. Let's see if the picture makes sense. Yes, the picture does make sense with our guess. Kiss your brain. Nice work. Next one. The bug is in the something. Bugs can be in the dirt. The bug is in the dirt. The bug is in the ground. Let's see. Say the first sound with me. Ready? What's that first sound? Did you say g? That's right. G, game, g. G. Grr. A says ah. Grr, ah. Let's reread our sentence and see if it makes sense. The bug is in the grass. Did you check to make sure it made sense? Now let's see if our picture makes sense with it. Yes, the bug is in the grass. Nice work, readers. Kiss your beautiful brain. Let's check this one. He, this is the word, has a frog something. Again, a word we don't know. First thing we do, check the first sound. We have a P. P says P. P. U says P. Another P. 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 Pop. He has a frog pop. That doesn't make sense. Oh, no, look, the word keeps going. P. Puppet. What's a puppet? He has a frog puppet. Did you ask if your guess makes sense? Did you ask if your guess makes sense? You better check for meaning. Did you ask if your guess makes sense? I don't know what a puppet is. So this guess does not make sense to me. But you know what? I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to look at the picture. Let's see if we can figure it out. What is he holding? Does that help you figure it out? He has a frog puppet. Yes, that makes sense. Kiss your beautiful brain. You figured out another unknown word. Now you too can use Stretchy Snake to help you read your books. The last thing you can do with your family is you can write the word back together. So adults, you can say, what letters make each of the sounds in this word? Let's write down the letters as we say the sounds. So for example, when we were stretching out the word puppet, you could go back and ask your child to write those letters. And even if they don't spell it correctly, you just want them to write the sounds that they hear. So when they say P, they're going to write it down. P says P. Says U says P, P. Another P I hear. I put another P. Puppet. And T, puppet. Puppet, write it down. Or if the word is flash, for example, your child should stretch out or tap out those sounds in the word flash. And you can cover up the word a little bit and go slowly across the word so that they can see what letters they need to write the word flash without looking back at that word. So readers, remember today's reading tip is to pick a word when you're reading a book, take it apart sound by sound, and then write it back together at the end. Don't forget, you can do this on Raz Kids. You can do this with your own books at home. We have so many resources. And remember that if you have any trouble, please feel free to talk to us. We are happy to help you. If you have any questions, please reach out to us on Connect. Thank you so much for coming to our family workshop number 2. Have a lot of fun reading. Bye.